The Hollywood Reporter recently announced a Bane and Deathstroke team-up movie produced by DC Studios, and I think involving Bane in a movie without Batman is a terrible idea. Now, I've already discussed why this announcement is not a good idea for Deathstroke's character in a separate video, and I've already noted that this announcement feels very similar to the random announcements in the early days of the DCEU, but I think the big problem I must address is the fact that Bane's character struggles in stories where Batman is not the focal point. His character is not built to carry a standalone movie, let alone a team-up movie. But hey, I have a theory that might make sense of this whole situation that I'll talk about later in the video. But before we get to that theory, let's talk about the stories where Bane's character works the best. See, Bane's initial story in the 90s, Nightfall, put his character on an amazing display, and his character thrived because of how much of a threat he was to Batman. He was calculating, strong, and had a heavy disdain for the Dark Knight. See, the one standalone story we got of Bane in Vengeance of Bane #1 showcased how Bane grew up in a tough environment and had a vision of Batman. His mission then became to escape Santa Prisca prison and head on over to Gotham to break the Bats. Just his dedication and how calculating he was when he went over to Gotham made him such a compelling villain. And The Dark Knight Rises would bring the compelling nature of Bane to life. As for Batman and Robin, we don't talk about that version. But if we look at stories about Bane that do not involve Batman, most of them are not really good, and actually, there aren't that many of them. In every story that Bane is in, he almost always fights against Batman. You rarely see him elsewhere going after other heroes or going on a different mission. And when he does show up elsewhere, he is just written as a brute with no other aspect of his character. Like, his calculating side is almost always forgotten by most writers for some reason, where honestly, his calculating side of his character is the most interesting part of his character. Like, we already have a lot of villains that are just brutes and are strong against Batman. They have like that overarching presence. Like, we don't need another one of those. But when you have that matched with a calculating character, you got a fantastic villain. And yeah, this is what gets me worried about this Deathstroke and Bane movie. I don't want to see Bane as just a brute. I want to see the criminal mastermind side of him. The side of him that predicted how much he had to do to wear down the Batman before breaking him. That was just so awesome in the comics. Like, seeing him release all the villains from Arkham Asylum, and then him like going on over to Wayne Manor and surprising Batman as lowest. Like, guys, bro, that was just so dope. I don't want to just simply see Bane and Batman fight or Bane and Deathstroke fight. I want to see all that lead up, all that build up. That's what made Nightfall so interesting and fun. If you just had a random comic in the 90s where a new villain, Bane, just shows up and breaks the bat in Wayne Manor, it would not have been as iconic. Like, I can't imagine living in the 90s and reading all those comics, Batman versus Scarecrow and Joker, going after all these villains, and then him coming back to Wayne Manor, and you get that final splash image of Bane just pointing at the bats. Like, guys, I would've got so hyped. Like, guys, I read Nightfall, not in separate issues. I actually got like a full book from Barnes & Noble. Yeah, not even a comic book shop. I just found it one time when I was at Barnes & Noble, the bookstore, and I picked it up and I read all of Nightfall. And guys, it's one of my favorite Batman stories. It's actually the story that made me love Bane as a villain. So if he's gonna be in a movie, I want him to be done right. And another thing, we better get the comic accurate Bane. Like, I better not see like a armored version of Bane or a Bane that is more like different and like experimental. Like, no, I want to see him in his like black, like his whole look, his 90s look. We better see like the red eyes, you know, the mask. Like I so want to see that. They almost got it down in Batman and Robin, but that don't count. And Dark Knight Rises, like that look is cool, but it's not the Bane I wanted. But hey, we'll see though. James Gunn, he might pull this off. We might get an awesome Bane matched with a great version of Deathstroke, or we could get something else. See, as time has passed, and I thought about this announcement more, I thought of a theory that makes this whole situation make more sense, alright? Like, I think this announcement is just a cover-up. I theorize that this Deathstroke and Bane team-up movie is actually bigger than DC is making it out to be. See, there is only one story where Bane is involved without Batman that is actually pretty good. And that is the 2009 Gail Simone Secret Six comic. James Gunn, he loves to make team-up movies or team-up projects, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes Creature Commandos to Peacemaker Season 2 to Waller, and then to Secret Six. Secret Six could be Waller's new super team of villains, or it could be entirely separate. I honestly hope it is entirely separate, like Waller and the Suicide Squad gimmick and all these team-up, villain team-up projects have honestly gotten repetitive and boring, but if you have the Secret Six just be entirely separate and adapt the Gail Simone comic, that could be awesome. But yeah guys, imagine a Secret Six movie with Deathstroke taking the place of Deadshot, and then we got Bane, and then we got Catman, and then we have Ragdoll. And guys, if we had Cheshire, maybe that would open the door to the Green Arrow side of the DCU. Now, the last theory I have about this announcement is maybe this movie will be about Deathstroke leading the Secret Six against Bane. Imagine Bane being the main villain and Deathstroke and him have like a rivalry, because guys, Bane, he has a connection to the League of Assassins, and he could carry out some plans that would lead on into Brave and the Bold. This would also allow the DCU to tease and set up Rage and Talia al Ghul before Brave and the Bold. I actually like this idea a lot more, and it sounds way more interesting. But yeah, to close out my thoughts on this Bane and Deathstroke team-up movie announcement, I just hope James Gunn puts the best version of Bane forward, and I hope this movie sets up Deathstroke as a Teen Titans villain. But yeah, we'll see. Tell me your thoughts in this announcement down below. What are your theories? Do you think this is actually a Secret Six movie? Do you think it's a cover-up for another movie? Do you have another idea? Tell me your theories down below. I'm very interested. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching and peace out.